they're on our home patch. They're going to want to frustrate us as much as possible.
You have to set the tone early, I think. I think you have to set the tone early in any game anyway, but especially derby games.
They might play deeper than we might expect.
Welcome to the pre-match pint with London Pride. We're not at the Fuller's Brewery in Chiswick Lane, but Bees fans, get yourself down there for 10% off. I've snuck out for a little pint with my friends Carly Osborne and Natalie Sawyer. Cheers for joining me, both of you. We've actually not got a cheers to do, but I'm just going to cheers to Derby Day. That's what it's all about, isn't it? We haven't had a game for a while. Let's get straight into it. Natalie, as a fan, do you like Derby Day?
No, of course I don't. I will have all the nerves. I will come to the ground and for a large period of the game, I'm sure, regardless of how it's going, I'll be questioning why I'm here. Even though I'm a fan and want to be here, I'll just be questioning because it's just so nerve-wracking. And bear in mind the run that both teams are on as well. It just feels like there's so much at stake at the moment. So yeah, I'll be in a bag of nerves, and no, quite clearly I don't enjoy it.
I'm exactly the same. I hate it, but it does give you some amazing moments as well. That's what we're hoping for. Yeah. Carly asked you this just before.
Yeah.
You ever played in the derby?
No, not really. My whole career not playing any important games, obviously.
For any club, you never played in a derby game?
Not that I could think of off the top of my head. No, I generally can't. I think Millwall Charlton would have been the only one, and it was a little bit feisty, but there's feistier derbies out there, I would say. Yeah, for sure.
Would you have liked to have played in a derby?
Yeah, I would have loved to have played in a derby. That would have been fun. I would have enjoyed playing the derby. I would have enjoyed winding fans up a little bit if the result was going our way, and enjoying the stick.
How do you play a derby then?
I don't know.
I didn't really hear it, so I'm going to ask you anyway.
I don't know. Do those questions? I haven't played in it. I think you just prepare for it like any other game. In all honesty, you go out and you want to perform to the best of your ability. You want to do everything you possibly can for the team to put them in the best position to win the game. And ultimately, you're hoping that everything goes to plan and you get all the luck that you need, and you can kind of humiliate the other team a bit, so you can enjoy that bit of glory. Yeah.
You're talking about bragging rights. This is unheard of, that it's Brentford Fulham going into this game, and the victor, well, look at where we both are at the moment, ahead of Chelsea, where we've never had that really for a hell of a long time. How big is this game, Natalie, on Monday, even if you take away the derby element of it?
Well, it's massive, in terms of both teams' aspirations for the rest of the season. Now, okay, I'm sure many outsiders will look at Fulham and Brentford as two teams that won't get into Europe come the end of the season, but there's no reason why both teams can't aim as high as they possibly can, and both are having incredible seasons. We've got a couple of games in hand over Fulham as well, so we need to make those count when they matter. But yeah, I would say there's so much at stake riding on this, apart from just bragging rights. Like I say, we're both on unbeaten runs. I don't want to have that losing feeling, and you don't want to lose, of course, to your biggest rival in the league as well, but I just don't want to lose, right? I'm enjoying this run that we're on, so there's a lot at stake. And like I say, if Europe is there to be got at, then you've got to win all your games now, really, pretty much. So
Carly, it's Monday night in front of the Sky cameras. We know how much we enjoy a game in front of the Sky cameras, but is this also an opportunity to, I mean this in the most positive way. It's like, when I think to about this game, people that don't know Brentford and Fulham, they often go, that's not a rivalry, that's not a derby. They don't really get it. And I know some fans of each club will maybe say, we dislike another club more and more. But there is a lot of history between these two clubs. And look, by the way, I'm saying this, I love the fact that there's rivalries in football. I'm not belittling Fulham here and saying I don't like them or anything like that. But there is a lot of history in this fixture.
There is a lot of history in this fixture. And even when you look at just this season and kind of how the game went at their ground, we owe them one for that anyway. But yeah, there's huge history in this fixture. It's two teams that are doing well at the moment, but neither of them will want to lose this game. As Natalie touched on earlier, Brentford won't want to lose their great streak that they're on at this moment in time. You definitely don't want to lose it to Fulham because you'll never hear the end of it. So it's going to be exciting. Monday night under the lights. Can't go wrong with that, I don't think.
Need a big atmosphere from everyone in the GTA. Carly mentioned that game earlier in the season. We did well to come from 2 down to 2-2, and then obviously Mitrovic in the last minute. Where did we go wrong that day, and what maybe cost us? Because we did so well to get back in.
I think it was just a slow start. That's the difference at the end of the day, and we can't afford to be complacent coming into this one, which we won't be. Of course we won't be. I also sort of think that the Fulham that we're seeing now are really tough to break down. You know, they're not conceding loads of goals at present. You know, look at the Brighton game that they had recently. Brighton were all over them, just could not get past them. So we have to make our chances count when we play them on Monday night. And likewise, at Craven Cottage, we had to make more of the chances that we had in that game. So it's being clinical. It's making sure that we're feeding Brian, we're feeding Ivan as much as we can, and just making the most of our opportunities. Because as I say, I think if Fulham go ahead, they'll make it very difficult for us to get back into that game, as we've seen that they've done recently in games.
It was fine margins as well, that Ivan offside.
That's what I mean.
It's so close. And again, at that game, we saw a player who, for me, has been phenomenal for Fulham all season. Palhinha, who's, of course, not going to be playing on Monday. What impact would that have? I was going to say, how big a blow is that for Fulham? And what impact do you think it's going to have on the game as a whole? Because for me, I think he's been the sign of the season, one of.
Oh, he's been tremendous.
Season.
Oh, I was going to say, obviously. You're talking from a Fulham perspective.
Exactly.
Oh, he's been fantastic. But equally, they've coped kind of without him, haven't they? And, you know, I think when you look at the likes, there's lots of threats to that team. Look at Manor Solomon, who's just come in and, what was it, three goals in 3 games, something like that. He's just been phenomenal. So we can't just centre on one player, obviously. You have to remember there's loads more players in that team that are going to cause us problems. Tete's been brilliant as well for them. So as much as I agree with you, he has been fantastic, Palhinha. I'm not quite sure we should just be thinking, oh, thank goodness he's not in the team, we'll be all right, because there's a lot to this Fulham team that we have to be wary of.
The energy of Reed as well, I think, complements him so well, which frees up Pereira. But the big thing we saw this week, last night, we're filming this on a Wednesday, Mitrovic back in the side against Leeds in the Cup. Right, how do you mark Mitrovic? You've marked some strikers in your time. How do you face him?
You just got to try and be as clever as you can. You don't want to get involved in the physical battle. That is one of his strengths. That is what he's very good at doing in terms of using his body and then, you know, marshalling himself and getting around defenders. So you kind of got to be a bit clever with him. You've almost got to let him receive the ball and then get tight on the travel of the ball, so you can kind of force him backwards. Don't try and dive in or out muscle him or strengthen, because he'll use that against you. And then you want to try, if you can, you want to try and cut off everything at source. So if you can get your midfielders to block the line of pass, give yourself the best chance really to kind of force him backwards. I think it's easy sometimes for defenders to get involved in a battle with forwards, especially physical forwards, where you want to be the one that wins everything, and it's not always going to be possible. So sometimes you've got to be a little bit patient in your defending, and like I said, use your midfield to block the line of pass or to kind of, you know, create a 2v1 situation. It's
interesting you mentioned cutting out at source, because obviously in the away fixture, his goal at the end is from a deep cross from, I think, Mbabu, and then he had a big chance before that as well. David made a great save from point blank range. Again, it was a deep cross. I was watching the Wolves game at the weekend. Vinicius had a really good chance from a Tete cross. Again, it was a deep cross. It wasn't kind of the wingers here that are crossing. It was kind of, it wasn't Willian or Solomon or Wilson. So how do we stop that? Is that another difficult thing? Because if we've got, say, wing backs, just Rico and Aaron or Mads or whoever, how do you stop basically you've got a 3 behind Mitrovic? So you've got 2 wide men there, but then you've also got very attacking fullbacks, which we know Fulham like to use.
I think you've got to try and get your wing backs to almost cheat a little bit. Maybe get one of your, especially from the crossing and wide areas, maybe get one of your centre midfielders to drop in into the middle of the box and kind of cover that and almost go into a 4, so that your wing backs can press the fullback a little bit higher if needed be on that side.
It's a bit like maybe we saw at Arsenal, we saw Matty Jensen and people tucking inside, didn't we?
Because that's one of their strengths. You know, you've just highlighted there that, you know, they create a lot of chances from those deeper crosses. So you've almost got to try and nullify that if you can, and almost you might have to get someone to do a little bit of work that you wouldn't necessarily do. But on the other side of that, if you get that right and then you win it, and you can get it to one of your wing backs who are now going to be more advanced and higher, that gives us a great opportunity to catch them on the counter as well.
On that, do you think Fulham will play more in our half, or do you think they'll have to? Because on our pitch, do you see what I mean? Because we know here, we like to come out and
absolutely. I'm sort of thinking how they played against Brighton. I don't think they really came out much, did they? And it was a smash and grab win. I'm sure Fulham fans would say that as well, just because of the dominance that Brighton had and the amount of chances they had. So they might make it difficult for us. You know, when they're on our home patch, they're going to want to frustrate us as much as possible. So they might play a lot. I say a lot. They might play deeper than we might expect. But equally, you know, they're on a great run. They want to win this game. They're going to have to come out at some point. So we've just got to be ready for it.
Are we looking at, I know it's too early to say, and there's going to be a lot of people saying Steady and Arteta, Ten Hag, and maybe even De Zerbi at Brighton, but are these two the managers of the season? I'm biased, I'm going to say one man, obviously.
I think they've got to be in contention for it, 100%. Yeah. You look at the job that they're doing, and you know, people talk about the budget and sizes of the clubs and things like that. I think they've got to be. They've done fantastic this year. No one would expect Brentford or Fulham to be where they are at this moment in time, at this stage of the season. And they're going, in fairness, from strength to strength even now. So I think they've got to be in contention for sure.
I want to get on to us very soon, but on the last point on Fulham, what have they done better this time when they've come up? Because a lot of people went, it's going to be the same. They were great in the Championship and they'll just do what they did last time. Well,
I think a lot of it's down to the manager. Clearly. I mean, when he got the job initially at Fulham, I thought, well, why would you pick him? He didn't do great things when he's in other clubs in England. But I was proved wrong because of how well they did last season in the Championship. I think he also has a lot of trust in the players. You can tell he's just got a good relationship with his players. And unfortunately, when Scott Parker was last in charge, you just saw that was not the case at all. When in the Premier League, some of the stuff that he would say. And you just felt things had broken down at Fulham a little bit between him and the players. So I think he's just the biggest reason as to why they are so successful, and they're playing football at times that is so. I mean, I was watching parts of that Leeds game the other night, and the way they were passing the ball so quickly and smoothly, you know, there's a lot to like about Fulham, which is really hard to say.
It's really hard to say. I've said it a few times this year.
But I do agree with you as well. With Marco Silva and Thomas Frank have to be in the conversation for Manager of the Year. I am biased. I still think Thomas Frank would be better 100%. Option, just because I think also Fulham have been here and done it in the Premier League before, whereas this is just our second season, and look what we're doing. So that's where I would, edge towards Frank. But I am obviously hugely biased.
I think there's similarities in the way both teams play. I've seen it. I don't know if they've maybe looked at how we did things last year as well. I'm not saying that they did. I'm not saying they copied our homework. But do you know what I mean? I think there's been I do when I look at them. I'm like, I see little bits of us in them. But on to us. Obviously, we've not had that fixture in the week because obviously Manchester United being in the Carabao Cup, Carly. Help or hindrance? Because they've had two fixtures in that time, right? Yeah,
they have. I think it's probably a little bit more of a help for us. Players will be a little bit fresher, feel a little bit more rested. They'll be chomping at the bit to play a game, and this is the game you want to be kind of playing. So I think it will help us in the long run. As long as we start right. Natalie mentioned earlier in the other game, we didn't start quick enough in the last game. So I think that's going to be important. We've got to come out the blocks full throttle. You know, kind of get in their faces, put them under pressure early, let them know that they're in a tough game, in a big derby, and then build on from that.
Kind of like start how we did against Man City. I still always think about that game and think, how on earth did we start the game like that?
With a Frank chance.
A couple of chances within 5 minutes of the game starting, and you're thinking, this is not Brentford. What are we doing? I'm expecting us to sit back and just wait and bide our time, but we went at them from the get-go, and I think that's what we have to do really against Fulham.
Yeah.
Is there going to be scope? You know, we said it in the Bournemouth playoff game. Just that first. As a player, you think. I know you've never played in one, but are you thinking that first? Do you see what I mean?
The first
someone should make a point. I'm not saying someone's going to smash someone.
No, but you do have to. You have to set the tone early. I think you have to set the tone early in any game anyway. But especially derby games and games with big prizes on the end of it. I think you have to. I think, whether it be someone making a certain run that gets us in, a pass that's brave and breaks the line, or someone, winning a big header or a big tackle. Those things, one, get the crowd behind you, but two, they light the players around you as well, and it gets them wanting to kind of get involved.
Who's going to be key for us on Monday, Natalie? Because we haven't actually spoken about the Palace game, because I thought Brian Mbeumo that day was
fantastic,
phenomenal, and I think he's just getting better and better every week. And that excites me. I know that Ream's done well and Diop's done well for Fulham, but that's a battle I'm looking forward to seeing if we go two up top with Brian and Ivan. That's if we go two up top. I've asked about 3 questions there. Answer any of them if you want. What are we going to play and who's going to be important?
I don't know, but you're right. I mean, I think Brian was fantastic against Palace and deserves all the plaudits for that. He caused so much problems, especially when he was out wide a few times, wasn't he, on the right, and that obviously cross that led to the equalising goal. I mean, it's difficult really to pinpoint a particular player in some ways because they're all so pivotal to how we play, and the Christian Norgard making sure that he breaks down and turn over the ball as quick as he can and get us going once again. There's all these players that have such important roles, so I sort of am loath to kind of pinpoint one because I want them all to have a good game, and if they all have a good game, we'll win.
We've spoken about Helena. Let's get it right. Again, bias we see him week in, week out. For me, I've seen this week people saying Helena's worth 50 million. I don't ever want him to leave, but what must Christian Norgard be worth there?
100%. It's been fantastic.
Okay, I always ask this question because every week we don't know. Are we going to go 4-3-3? Or are we going to go 3 at the back? What would you do against Fulham? They go 4-2-3-1 a lot of the time, pretty much all the time.
I would go 3 at the back.
Yeah?
I would go 3 at the back. That's what I would do. Want to try and give our wing backs a bit of a chance to try and really cause them problems, stop the fullbacks coming in and crossing from deep as well. So that's where I would go. I think it gives you a little bit more room for manoeuvre and stuff like that as well. A good cover in terms of dealing with the forward up top, which is going to be a battle, as we know. So I would go with 3.
Yeah,
I'll go with the manager.
I think the wide areas are going to be key. So I think we need to give ourselves as much chance to deal with that as we can, but still able to cover in other areas if needs be. So
I can't wait for it. I think I can't wait for it. I don't know if I can't wait for it. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments section below. Our first West London derby against Fulham at the G6, and it's in the Premier League in front of the Sky cameras on a Monday night. It's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. That game obviously on Monday means some of you may have a free weekend, and if you're looking for a football fix, Carly?
Yes.
You get down to see the women's?
Yeah, come down to see the women's. We're at Hackney, away at Hackney, which will be a very good game. Both our teams are playing at Hackney, actually, B team and first team.
So you can get 2 games in one.
Yeah, it's a chance to see both teams play. So yeah, it'll be a good fixture.
The team's going really well.
Yeah, doing really well. We had a good result of the weekend, beat top of the league, which was fantastic.
Cup win the week before, I was there.
Yeah. That's good. Obviously a good win the week before. So we're in a good place right now. So we're fighting for this league, and we want to win it, and we're putting ourselves in a good place to give ourselves the best chance.
Amazing. Well, yeah, look, make sure you get down to Hackney to support both girls' teams. And at the game on Fulham, it's also our chance to celebrate International Women's Day, as that is the nearest fixture to the day. We've got a few things going on at the match, including we've got a Fulham player and a Brentford player joining us at half time. I don't know if you were told that, but one of the girls is going to be joining at half time.
I was.
Excellent.
Not usually, but I was this time.
Well, that's it for this week. And yeah, huge game on Monday night and those 2 big women's games on Sunday as well. You Reds!
I'm not a cheater! I'm not a cheater!
Hey!
Sorry.
I'm not playing anymore with this guy.